Good morning. Today let us learn the important definition under CGST Act 2017. First definition, let us start with aggregate turnover. So what does aggregate turnover mean and what is defined under the section 26 of CGST Act? We'll learn now. What does aggregate turnover mean? The aggregate turnover means the aggregate value. It includes what all should be included in calculating aggregate turnover. All the taxable supplies, excluding the value of inward supplies on which tax is payable by a person on reverse charge basis. So we'll exclude the inward supplies on which the reverse charge is applicable. Other than that, all the taxable supplies and all exempted supplies, export of goods or service or both, and the interstate supplies of person having same permanent account number to be computed on all India basis. So we include four things. One is the taxable supplies, and second is exempted supplies, and third is export of goods and services, and fourth is all interstate supplies of the same PAN number should be included. And what has to be excluded in calculating aggregate turnover? All the central taxes, that is CGST that is paid, the state taxes, SGSTs that are paid, and UTGSTs, Union Territory taxes, and IGSTs that are paid, and the cess that are paid should not be included in calculating the aggregate turnover. Next, let us learn the concept of composite supply. This is defined under the section 230. 2 subsection 30. What does composite supply mean? Composite supply means a supply. This supply should be made by a taxable person to a recipient. The supply should be made by a registered person. The recipient may or may not be a registered person. And the supply should consist of two or more taxable supplies of goods or service or both. It should include combination of two or more taxable supplies of goods and services or any combination thereof which are naturally bundled. This is the key term where the bundle should be natural, and this supply should be made to a recipient who's registered or not registered person. The supply is made in conjunction with each other in ordinary course of the business. This supply should be made as a part of the business, and of the supply, one of the supply would be considered as the principal supply and the remaining supply would be considered as ancillary supplies. Next definition, mixed supply. This is defined under the section 2 subsection 74. Mixed supply means two or more individual supplies of goods or service or any combination thereof made in conjunction with each other by a taxable person for a single price. Here the thing is, the bundle should be provided for a single price where the supply does not constitute a composite supply. In composite supply, the bundle is natural, but here it should not be a composite supply, in the sense the bundle should not be natural, and this has to be provided at a single price. Next, let us learn the definition of goods. So in GST Act, what does good mean? This is defined under the section 252. So goods means every kind of movable property. So anything that is movable can be defined as goods, but this excludes what all the things are not included. Anything that is other than money and securities. Money and securities are not included as good, but includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass, and things that are attached to forming part of the land which are agreed to be served before supply under a contract of supply. So good means anything that is movable except the money and securities, but includes the actionable claims, growing crops, and anything that is attached to the land and which are agreed to be supplied at a later date. So next is the definition of actionable claim. This is defined under the section 2 subsection 1. Actionable claim shall have the meaning assigned. This is defined into the section 3 of Transfer of Property Act 1882. According to this act, the actionable claim means any debt other than the debt secured by mortgage of immovable property or by hypothecation or pledge of movable property, and any beneficial interest in the movable property not in the possession, either actual or constructive, of the claimant, which the civil court recognizes as affording grounds for relief, whether such debt or beneficial interest be been existent, occurring, conditional, and contingent, and any unsecured debts, right to participate in the draw to be held in the lottery. And it must be noted that actionable claim is specifically included in the definition of goods. This actionable claim is specifically included in the definition of goods under the CGST Act. The transaction of actionable claims other than lottery, betting, and gambling can be treated as the actionable claims under the supply of goods in CGST Act. So this is the definition. This is defined under the Transfer of Property Act, but whereas under CGST Act we does not consider the actionable claims as lottery, betting and gambling. Next is the definition of person. This is defined under section 2 subsection 8. A person means an individual, a company, a Hindu undivided family, a firm, a LLP, that is limited liability partnership, an association of person or body of individual, whether incorporated or not, in India or outside India. And any corporation established under the CGST Central Act, State Act, or Provisional Act, or any of the acts of the government, and this is defined in the section 242 subsection 45 of the Companies Act 2013. Any body corporate incorporated by or under the law of a country outside India, a cooperative society registered under any law relating to cooperative societies, a local authority, the central government or state government, the societies as defined under the Societies Registration Act 1860, any trust, every artificial judicial person not filing within any of the above shall be considered as person. Next is the definition of service. This is defined under the section 2 subsection 1 or 2 of CGST Act. Service means anything other than goods, money and securities. Now service includes all the other things, that is other than goods, money and securities, but includes activities relating to use of money or its conversion by cash or any other mode from one form to the other, or from one currency to the other, or from one denomination to the other, for which a separate consideration is charged. So in that case, this can be included as service. Service means anything that is not goods and is not specifically excluded, such as money and securities, and transactions specified under Schedule 3 is not included as service. Schedule 2 of CGST Act, what does it list down? List down matters which shall be regarded as supply of goods or supply of services. The GST law empowers the government to require treatment of supply of notified goods as supply of service and vice versa. Next is the definition of taxable supply. This is defined under the section 2 subsection 108. Taxable supply means a supply of goods or service or both which is liable tax under this act. For a transaction to qualify as taxable supply, the following components are compulsory. First thing, the transaction must have invoice. The supply should be either good or service. Such goods or service should not be specified in Schedule 2, Schedule 3, where uh, the supply is neither good nor service. The transaction should fall within the meaning of supply, which is defined under the section 7 of CGST Act. The supply should be leviable to GST. Thank you.